This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. The GOX vent arm or beanie cap has just been retracted and will be moved to the side momentarily. At that point, we'll have several important milestones still remaining in the countdown. When we come out of the count, or come out of the hold and begin the count once again, the ground launch sequencer will take over command of the remaining events as well as monitoring the shuttle system's response. At T-minus 7 minutes, the orbiter access arm will retract. At T-minus 5 minutes, the auxiliary power units will be started. At T-minus 4 minutes, a purge of the main engines will start. And at T-minus 2 minutes and 55 seconds, liquid oxygen pressurization will begin. At 1 minute and 57 seconds, liquid hydrogen pressurization will start, and at T-minus 28 seconds, the redundant set sequencer will take over. At that point, events happen far too quickly, and readings of systems must be done too fast for humans to perform. At the present time, we're waiting for NASA Test Director George Page, our launch director, to say a few words to the crew about the procedures which will be followed. The gaseous oxygen vent arm, the cap has been retracted, and the arm is just about to move away from the external tank. At the present time, everything going very, very smoothly. The gaseous oxygen vent arm now is moving back to the retract position, getting it out of the way so that the orbiter can lift off and clear the tower properly. The launch director coming up to speak to the crew. The launch director is talking to his team about the launch commit criteria at the present time. The launch director is going through the commit criteria with the launch team, and he is telling them that if they see something that would require that we cut off, that is the thing to do, that we're not going to be taking any chances. Everybody will be talking on the same channel, on what's our channel 212.
All Americans with you. You go in the hand of God and draw on the courage of life. Our countryman and poet, William Cullen Bryant, once said, America is where mankind throws off its last fetters. With your exploits, we loosen one more. Who, he said, shall place a limit to the giant's strength or curb his swiftness in the forward race? Through you today, we all feel as giants once again. Once again, we feel the surge of pride that comes from knowing we are the first and we are the best, and we are so because we are free. For all Americans, Nancy and I thank you and the thousands of others who have worked to make this day possible. As you hurtle from Earth in a craft unlike any other ever constructed, you will do so in a feat of American technology and American will. May God bless you, and may God bring you safely home to us again. That's the end of the message. And John, we can't do more from the launch team than say we sure wish you an awful lot of luck. We're with you 1,000%, and we're awful proud to have been a part of it. Good luck, Jeff.
Crippen and I are mighty proud to work with you fellas. You're absolutely professional. The best there is. And that's a mighty fine speech, and we sure appreciate it.
Okay, this NTD on 212, I'd like the verification.
That was Shuttle Launch Control. Our launch director, George Page, reading a message from President Reagan to the Columbia crew, which began, "You go forward this morning in a daring enterprise, and you take the hopes and prayers of all Americans with you." Launch director George Page added his best wishes. He said, "We wish you an awful lot of luck, and that we are with you 1,000% on the trip." We are just about to come out of this T-minus 9-minute hold in just about 2 minutes from now. We are having a check of the managers who are monitoring this morning's launch, and all of them who have been polled so far said that they are ready to go. We'll be ready to pick up in just about a minute and a half from now. This is Shuttle Launch Control.
So IA-212, okay, you want to set the launch and pick up at 51 minutes past the hour. Affirmative, we're set, we're ready to go. Okay, we also have a go from LRZ.
NTD, BTC.
Go ahead.
Verify that the DFI power is on.
Okay. What step is that, Bill?
That was the D that we brought over from...
I understand.
Okay, previous lithium on at 12.
Understand.
Stand by 30 seconds. This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 9 minutes and holding. We are approximately 26 seconds away from picking up the countdown at the T-minus 9-minute point. 9 minutes remaining between now and 7 a.m. when we expect to have a liftoff of America's first space shuttle. The launch team has been briefed on the way in which a halt can be called to the countdown. During the final 9 minutes of the countdown, and we're coming out, we're at T-minus 9 minutes and counting. The launch events are being controlled by the ground launch sequencer now. That has been initiated, and that will be in control up to T-minus 25 seconds when they switch to the onboard redundant set launch sequencer. The ground launch sequencer is a part of the launch processing system and operates by relaying commands to the orbiter's onboard computers, which then report back to the launch processing system that the commands have been executed. The primary job of the computers is to check that all of the launch commit criteria, such as propellant loads, temperatures, pressures, and other measurements, are satisfactory. The primary chase aircraft have taken off. A third T-38 will take off at the T-minus 5-minute mark. The timing of this plane is such a tight window that a 15-second delay would mean that they would not be in the proper position at launch. The sleek T-38 supersonic trainers have such critical timing because of the small fuel load that they carry. T-minus 7 minutes, 52 seconds, and counting. Approximately 40 seconds away from movement of the orbiter access arm. This is the final arm, which was to be moved out of the way to provide for the orbiter to clear the tower properly. This may be a very interesting launch to watch from the standpoint that the orbiter is able to translate slightly horizontally as it begins to lift off, and it also does a roll maneuver which will place it, the orbiter, sort of on its back as it goes towards the proper inclination to the equator. T-minus 7 minutes, 7 seconds and counting. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. And we have retraction of the orbiter access arm, beginning to move back first away from the orbiter and then to swing away. This was the walkway attached to the service structure and used by the crew to walk to the orbiter. The crew has been advised to lower their helmet visors. Very slow movement by the orbiter access arm. T-minus 6 minutes, 29 seconds and counting. The crew is beginning the APU pre-start. The start begins at the 5-minute point in the countdown. T-minus 6 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. The APUs are turbine devices fueled by hydrazine, which provides hydraulic power to change the angle of the engines and the flight surfaces on the orbiter. T-minus 5 minutes, 59 seconds and counting. Pilot Bob Crippen had begun that APU pre-start, which started about 48 seconds from now. The development flight instrumentation, which measures the stresses on the orbiter during flight, have been turned on, and recorders store information for playback after landing. T-minus 5 minutes, 30 seconds, mark and counting. Pilot Bob Crippen has signified the auxiliary power units are ready to be started. T-minus 5 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. Coming up on the 5-minute point, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. T-minus 5 minutes and counting. We have had a go for APU start. APU start is in work. This is a start sequence. The final chase plane is taken off from Patrick Air Force Base. T-minus 4 minutes, 42 seconds and counting. T-minus 4 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Once we get the APU start, we have a total of 12 minutes of hydrazine supply for running the APUs prior to a liftoff. Everything going very smoothly in this count. The APU start is complete. T-minus 4 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. As preparation for main engine ignition, the main fuel valve heaters have been turned off. T-minus 3 minutes, 57 seconds and counting. The final helium purge on the shuttle main engine has been started in preparation for engine start. The liquid oxygen replenish system has been turned off in preparation for pressurization of the tanks for the launch. T-minus 3 minutes, 35 seconds and counting. The Elevon speed brake and rudder are being moved through a pre-programmed pattern to assure that they'll be ready for use in flight. T-minus 3 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. The shuttle is now on internal power. However, the fuel cells are still receiving their fuels from the ground support system for 1 more additional minute. Coming up on T-minus 3 minutes, T-minus 3 minutes and counting. The engine gimbal or movement check is underway to assure they're ready for flight control. T-minus 2 minutes, 52 seconds. The LOX valve on the external tank has been closed and pressurization has begun. After the tank is pressurized, the hold capability is limited to 3 minutes, 36 seconds. T-minus 2 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. The fuel cell ground supply of oxygen and hydrogen has been terminated and the vehicle is using its onboard supply. T-minus 2 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. T-minus 2 minutes, 15 seconds. The pressure in the LOX tank is at flight pressure. coming up on just 2 minutes away from launch. T-minus 2 minutes mark and counting. The liquid hydrogen vent valve has been closed and flight pressurization is underway. T-minus 1 minute 50 seconds and counting. Chuck Hannon has just said smooth sailing, baby, to astronauts John Young and Bob Crippen. T-minus 1 minute 35 seconds and counting. T-minus 1 minute 20 seconds and counting. We can see the purges of the main engines as we prepare for ignition. T-minus 1 minute 10 seconds and counting. Liquid hydrogen tank is at flight pressure.
Max Q-Bar
Roger. Columbia, Houston, you're go throttle up.
Roger, go throttle up.
Roger, Columbia, on the nice ride. You're lofting a little bit, so you'll probably be slightly high at staging.
1 minute 45 seconds coming up on go, no go.
Columbia, you're negative seat.
That call up says that Columbia, the altitude is too high for ejection seat use. Mark.
Columbia, you're go for SRB SEP.
2 minutes 4 seconds, standing by for SRB SEP confirmation.
Roger on the SEP, Columbia.
Mark, 2 minutes 20 seconds, confirm solid rocket booster SEP.
Takeoff initiate.
Mark, 2 minutes 30 seconds. On-board guidance is converging as programmed. Columbia is now steering for its precise window in space for main engine cutoff. Mark, 2 minutes 40 seconds. Columbia now 39 nautical miles in altitude, 42 nautical miles downrange. Mark 2 minutes 50 seconds. Columbia,
You're looking a little hot. All your calls will be a little early.
Okay.
Columbia now has 2-engine rotor capability.
Good here.
Mark 3 minutes. Young and Crippen really moving out now. Velocity now reading 6,200 feet per second. Mark 3 minutes 15 seconds. Columbia now 51 nautical miles in altitude, 66 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 6,500 feet per second. Mark 3 minutes 30 seconds. Columbia now 55 nautical miles in altitude, 78 nautical miles downrange. Mark 3 minutes 40 seconds. Standing by for a return status check and mission control by Flight Director Neil Hutchinson. Columbia given a green to continue. Mark 3 minutes 55 seconds, standing by for a press to MECO, which says Columbia should lose one engine.
Columbia, stand by, press to MECO.
Columbia continues flying forward, coming up on negative return.
Press for MECO.
Roger, press for MECO.
Mark 4 minutes 8.
Columbia, stand by for negative return. Mark, negative return. And your revamp is good.
Mark 4 minutes 25 seconds with that.
We can confirm it.
With that call up from Capcom Brandon Stein. Columbia now committed to space travel. Young and Crippen can no longer turn around and return to the launch site.
Columbia, Houston, we're showing both ohms PC transducers off scale high.
Mark 4 minutes 45 seconds. The flash evaporator is activated on board to cool Columbia.
Setting off scale low here.
Roger, stand by. We'll keep an eye on it.
Mark 4 minutes 56 seconds. Columbia is lofting early in the second stage, is now being taken out of the trajectory as programmed. Columbia now 74 nautical miles in altitude, 181 nautical miles down.
Nominal there, man. What a view, what a view.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Mark 5 minutes 15 seconds. Columbia now 75 nautical miles in altitude, 202 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 11,000 feet per second. A status check and mission control by Flight Director Neil Hutchinson.
Columbia, Houston, your go at 5:30, MECO, 8+34.
Mark 5 minutes 40 seconds. That call up from Capcom Brandon Stein says that Columbia's trajectory, navigation, and engine performance look good.
Columbia, reading you loud and clear.
Okay, you're clear, a little weak.
Mark 5 minutes 55
and
seconds.
Columbia, we just switched over Bermuda. Boy, should be getting better here in a second.
Roger that. Okay, that's good.
6 minutes. Columbia now 76 nautical miles in altitude, 280 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 13,000 feet per second.
Columbia, Houston, could we have the cryo heaters, please? And Columbia, your single engine rota.
Roger.
Mark 6 minutes 25 seconds. That call up from Capcom Brandon Stein says that if 2-engine failure occurred, Columbia is capable of an emergency landing at Rotor Naval Air Station, Spain. Mark 6 minutes 40 seconds. Columbia pitching over now, diving to increase velocity, decrease altitude, giving Columbia her most favorable attitude. Columbia now 72 nautical miles in altitude, 373 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 16,400 feet per second. Standing by for a single engine press to MECO call up from Capcom Brandon Stein.
Columbia, your single engine, press for MECO.
Mark 7 minutes 20 seconds. That report says that Young and Crippen can achieve orbital insertion even if 2 engines go out. Mark 7 minutes 30 seconds. Columbia 67 nautical miles in altitude, 485 nautical miles downrange. G-force is building for Young and Crippen now up to 3 Gs. Mark 7 minutes 45 seconds. Columbia's main engine slowly being throttled back now. Should be throttled at 65% at 6 seconds before main engine cutoff. Status check in the control center.
Columbia, Houston, your go at 8.
Mark 8 minutes, 4 seconds.
Looking good.
Columbia now 63 nautical miles in altitude, 606 nautical miles downrange. Mark 8 minutes, 15 seconds. Columbia now 63 nautical miles in altitude, 650 nautical miles downrange. Standing by now for main engine cutoff.
Mako 25670 up at 220 feet per second.
Roger, Columbia, Miko.
Confirm shutdown. Columbia, the gem of this new ocean, now in space, not yet in orbit. Now standing by now for external tank separation.
Okay, we've had SEP.
Roger, and we confirm the SEP, Columbia.
9 minutes, 3 seconds. Confirm external tank separation. Columbia now performing an evasive maneuver, moving below and beyond and translating to the north of the external tank. Young should see it moving away out his window. Nine minutes, 40 seconds, go, no-go status check and mission control for the first ohms burn. Given a go.
Columbia, Houston, your go for nominal ohms 1 and for APU shutdown on time.
Mark, 9 minutes, 55 seconds. Columbia now maneuvering to its ohms 1 burn attitude. Using the two 6,000-pound thrust engine, the ohms 1 will be posigrade, moving Columbia forward and higher on her flight path, placing Columbia in orbit. Standing by for ignition, 10 minutes, 22 seconds. Columbia 67 nautical miles in altitude, 1,160 nautical miles downrange.
Okay, we got 102 on the left and 101 on the right, PC.
Roger, Columbia, they're looking good to us.
A status check in the control center.
Columbia, Houston, we have 40 seconds to LOS. Configure LOS. You're looking good burning over the hill. We'll see you at Madrid.
We got a second to go. We're in a 97 by 42 right now.
Roger.
Shuttle Control, Houston, 12 minutes mission elapsed time. We've had loss of signal with Columbia through Bermuda. The next station to acquire will be Madrid. Still receiving data, however, in the control center. Right at shutdown, they saw the, right at loss of signal, they saw the shutdown of the ohms.